Hi, I'm Christina from Travels with Ted, and I've lived in an RV since May 2016. That's almost 10 years. And while we've been on the road, we've met hundreds of other full time RVers, but very few of those have been on the road as long as we have. In fact, most of the full timers we meet only last 2 or 3 years on the road. Many of these former full timers really loved the lifestyle. They just got off the road for personal reasons or because they really miss their community back at home. However, we've also met quite a few full time RVers who were really hating life on the road and were really regretting their decision to sell their house and move into an RV. Now, I don't want you to be those people. So, today I'm sharing 5 questions I think you should ask yourself before moving into an RV. Based on your answers to these questions, I think it'll be pretty easy for you to figure out if RV life is really a good idea for you and your family. The first question is, do you enjoy spending time outside? RVs are pretty small, so most full time RVers spend a lot of time outside at their campsite, walking around the campground. Think about right now in your current life. Do you spend a lot of time taking walks outside? Do you spend a lot of time sitting in your backyard? If you don't currently spend a lot of time outside, think about whether you're really going to want to do that when you're living in an RV. Or are the heat and the bugs going to annoy you and force you back inside the RV where you're now just living in very small, cramped quarters? The second question. Now, this is for those of you that are going to be hitting the road with a spouse. How many hours a day can you actually spend with your spouse? Many people learned the answer to this during the COVID-19 pandemic, where if you're used to spending 8 to 10 hours a day at work away from your spouse, it can be very difficult to change to a lifestyle where you're now spending 24 hours a day together. And while we're on the road, we do go visit family and friends, but I'd say somewhere between 6 and 9 months out of the year, my husband and I are traveling where we don't know anyone and we may meet new people, but we're spending all day, almost every day together. So think about that for you and your spouse. Even if you really like them, are they going to drive you crazy if they're around you all the time? If you're working in the same space, living in cramped quarters, can't watch a TV show without the other person being in the room, think about if that's realistic for you and your marriage. The third question, how attached are you to possessions? This is something you should be really honest with yourself before you sell anything and move into an RV. One of the reasons RV life works so well for me is because I have very few possessions that I have any sort of sentimental attachment to. I don't think that's a good or a bad thing. It's just how I am personally. And so it makes being a minimalist and living in an RV easier for me than it is for some other people. But I've met a lot of people who sold a house they'd lived in for somewhere between 20 and 50 years. And they sold a lot of their possessions and they were really missing those things and the sentimental value attached to them. And so, if that's the type of person you are, then you really need to think about, is RV life right for you? And if it is right for you, also think about if you can afford to keep all your stuff and put it in storage and maybe not sell the house while you hit the road. And just make sure you're setting yourself up to not have any regrets in the future. 4, are you mentally and financially prepared for bumps in the road? And I mean literal and figurative bumps in the road. When you have an RV, things break, especially when you're traveling down bumpy roads. And I know that's true of home ownership too, but when things break in your RV, you may have to move out of your RV. Your RV may need to be in the shop for a month. You may be fighting with the manufacturer over the warranty and need somewhere to live. These are all things that have happened to people we know, and they had to, find alternate accommodations or go stay with family while their RV was in the shop. That happened to us one summer when our roof blew off our last RV. I don't know anyone who's lived in an RV that hasn't had some major mishaps. So you need to be prepared for those, both mentally to go with the flow and deal with those changes to your plans, but also financially making sure you have enough saved up to not only pay for repairs, but also to have somewhere else to stay if your RV does have to be in the shop. And our last question for those of you who are considering living in an RV with your family is, are your kids excited about RV life? We've met many full-time families where the parents really loved RV life, but their kids missed their friends and their sports teams back home and really wanted to go back to the communities that they know. On the other hand, we've met many full-time families where the kids absolutely thrived in this environment and they were making new friends all across the country and learning so many new things from their travels. So I don't think there's one right answer for every family, but it's just about having real conversations with your kids and understanding if this is the right lifestyle, not only for you, but also for them. And if it's not the right lifestyle for your kids, then you may need to wait a few years. If you do decide that RV life is for you, like I said, I've been on the road for 10 years and I absolutely love the lifestyle. I love sharing it with people, telling them all my tricks, tips, and horror stories. So if you are interested in the RV lifestyle, please hit that subscribe button, follow me for all my tips, and feel free to message me with any questions you have. Happy camping!